My story starts back when I was a teenager. We were next-door neighbors, and our families had been friends for generations. Everyone expected us to end up together, and honestly, we did too. We started dating in high school, and things were perfect until I had to move to a different state for my master's degree. We tried long distance for a year, but decided to stay friends instead. The pressure of maintaining a relationship while being apart was too much. We both dated other people, but deep down, we knew we'd find our way back to each other eventually. After graduation, I stayed in the same city and started my career. My mentor, Rick, became a good friend over time. One day, he called me into his office with an interesting opportunity, a 3-year position in Singapore with all expenses covered. The pay wasn't amazing, but I could save most of it since housing and travel were included. Rick said it would be great for my career growth, mentioning how a similar experience helped him years ago. The first year in Singapore was challenging. Learning different cultures and business practices took time, but I adapted. I dated casually, always being upfront about my temporary stay. Rick would visit occasionally for work supervision, and we'd explore the city together. When my contract ended, I returned home and bought a house. Within a month of being back, I ran into her at my parents' house. She had broken up with her boyfriend a year earlier, and we started talking regularly again. Things progressed naturally, and we began dating. I was hesitant about getting intimate initially. My time in Asia had changed me, and I worried about how that might affect our relationship. When we finally did, she noticed the difference in my experience level. She asked questions, and I wasn't entirely honest about my past relationships, which would later cause problems. Our families were overjoyed when we got back together. We moved in together, and everything seemed perfect. We planned our wedding for summer 2020, but then something unexpected happened around New Year's. She was going through wedding details with her cousin Arya when she asked to talk. Arya stayed in the living room while we sat at the kitchen table. She started by asking me not to interrupt, then dropped a bombshell. She wanted an open relationship before marriage. Her reasoning? She felt insecure about our different experience levels and worried I might cheat later due to being unsatisfied. She laid out rules. Only strangers, no repeats, no emotional connections. When I realized she wasn't joking, I lost it. I yelled at Arya, asking if this was her idea. She claimed she was just there for support. Then my fiancé said I could also see other people under the same rules. When I refused and said I only wanted one person, I pointed at Arya just to get a reaction. That backfired when my fiancé said it was inappropriate because Arya was family. I spent that night in the guest room, unable to sleep. She started night shifts the next day, which gave us some space. She'd leave dinner with sweet notes, but I kept my responses short. A week later, I found a hotel reservation in her email. The hotel was near my office, and she was supposed to be working that night. I couldn't focus at work the next day. I searched dating sites for profiles without pictures but found nothing. Rick noticed something was wrong and invited me to lunch. When he suggested the same hotel's restaurant, I quickly refused. After hearing what happened, he offered me unlimited leave, paid or unpaid. I rushed home, packed some essentials in my car, and went back to the office. Rick suggested we wait at the hotel to see if she showed up. I didn't want to, but I had to know. We sat in the lobby bar, and around 6:30, Rick pointed her out that she was at the front desk, not in her nurse uniform. I waited 10 minutes after she went up, then asked the reception to connect me to her room. When she answered, I just started yelling that we were done, wedding off relationship over. Then I left. I stayed at Rick's place. My phone kept ringing for days. I only called my dad to explain briefly what happened and that I needed to leave town. Everyone tried reaching me, but I didn't answer. Rick mentioned I should handle some financial matters to protect myself, but I couldn't think about the house, wedding loans, or car payments. I emailed her saying I was leaving town, and everything was off. After talking with my dad again, who was disappointed but understood, I booked a flight to Bali. I went offline except for messages to work and my dad. I spent a month there, mostly drinking, feeling angry and ashamed. Rick contacted me about handling some work in Singapore, mentioning rumors of lockdowns due to a new virus. I reached Singapore on March 1st, thinking I'd stay 30 to 60 days until things calmed down. Those days turned into another year before I got vaccinated, and by then I didn't want to go home. I rented out my house and avoided any news about her when talking to family. In September 2021, I got news that my dad had a heart attack and needed triple bypass surgery. Despite my reluctance to face everyone back home, I knew I had to see him. I also wanted to thank Rick for everything he'd done for me. After landing, I went straight to see my dad. He looked okay and was positive about the surgery. We talked for hours about everything except the heavy stuff. I didn't want to stress him. Rick messaged me saying the company CEO wanted to see me, but it could wait given my father's condition. I decided to get it over with and went to the office. The CEO started lecturing about responsibility and dedication. He asked Rick why they should keep me around. Rick joked about how I worked for 20% below market rate, and they both laughed. Then the CEO got serious and gave me some life advice about relationships that actually made sense. Turns out I wasn't getting fired. I was getting promoted. Rick had been looking out for me all along. We went for drinks, even though it was morning, and he convinced me I needed to meet her for closure before moving forward with my life. I unblocked her on social media and sent her a message asking to meet for dinner. She agreed, and we set a date for after her shift. I had two fears going into this meeting. Either my anger would take over, or my old feelings would surface. I hoped to find middle ground. When she walked into the restaurant, all my plans fell apart. She looked beautiful and wore my favorite perfume. After an awkward hug, we sat down. She didn't wear any rings, not even the engagement ring I gave her. We talked about my dad first. She told me she checked on him during her hospital shifts and said his surgeon was one of the best. We discussed her work during COVID and my time in Singapore. Inside, I was falling apart, but I kept calm on the outside. Finally, she addressed what happened. "I want to tell you how sorry I am for hurting you," she said. "Are you sorry you got caught or sorry for what you did?" I asked. "Well, I'm sorry for ruining our future. I let my insecurities destroy everything." "Did you plan it because you felt insecure, or did you want to punish me for dating other people when we were apart?" She admitted it might have been both. Then she told me something I never knew. Her ex before me had cheated on her because he felt he couldn't compete with her feelings for me. "I never planned for you to find out about the hotel. I thought I could keep my emotions separate, and even if you discovered it, we could work through it like we always did." "You thought wrong," I said. "It's the most painful thing I've experienced. I didn't need you to be perfect or experienced. I just needed you to be faithful." She went to the bathroom to compose herself. Rick was in the lounge area for support, but he was busy chatting with two women. When he looked over, he gave me a thumbs up and went back to his conversation. That's just how he was. When she returned, she asked if I had questions about that night. I said it didn't matter anymore. She insisted nothing happened. When I called the room, she got scared and ran to the lobby, but I was already gone. "Can you forgive me?" she asked. "I already have. You're not horrible. You just made terrible choices. But it's not all your fault. I should have understood your worries better." I told her about when we were kids, and I protected her from a stray dog. "All these years later, I still try to protect you from everything. But this time, while I was protecting you, you stabbed me in the back." She started crying and pushed her ring box across the table. "I didn't want it. I wish I was home playing with a baby we would have had by now," I said, immediately regretting my words. After we both calmed down, we talked about the future. Since our families were close, we needed to figure out how to be around each other. Getting back together wasn't an option, but we could be civil. We ended with a long hug goodbye. That night helped me close that chapter of my life. Sometimes love isn't enough when trust is broken. I learned that forgiveness doesn't mean you have to let someone back into your life. It just means you're ready to move forward with yours. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button to help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.